Henry.
I
Oh,
knew you
Henry.
was after that.
Listen, my club, we're going to get onto Man United later, right? We are. 10. I'll give it a motherfucking 10. 10 times your club. Big up Varsity Blues. Great movie. 10 times Tottenham have led by 2 goals or more in Premier League history and have lost the game. But yesterday's appeared, in my opinion, to be the most embarrassing because the collapse was awful. The defending was non-existent. Mickey van der Ven turned into Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. Udogie, awful. Romero again, ball watching. The midfield, as the great expression would say, polo midfield, holes everywhere. The attack, Werner stayed on the pitch until the 80th minute of the game. What went wrong yet? Oh, by the way, after such a sublime start, you looked phenomenal. You looked phenomenal in the first half, and I was actually sitting there gutted. But that second half performance was medicine. That could heal people, bruv. Ill people could be made better through watching that. What happened?
Well, Spurs, isn't it? It's exactly what happened. Look, the first half, I thought we were very good. I'll be honest. I thought we should have been 1-0 up in the first 30 seconds. If Werner finds Johnson, it's an easy tap-in. Probably a great game for a neutral. I said on the top 6 show on Thursday, there'll be a hell of a lot of goals in it because it's 2 teams who don't like to defend. First half, Johnson makes it 6 goals in 6 games. Maddison gets his goal. Probably should have had maybe a third or even a fourth in that first half. Danny Welbeck had a half chance. Or maybe it was a good chance, to be fair, 10, 15 yards out. And I go into half time and I'm like, right, naturally, you're going to expect Brighton to come out against you. You're in their stadium, you're away, you're 2-0 up. Any manager would naturally go to a counter-attacking system when you're 2-0 up away, knowing that Brighton are going to step up. It's going to be loads of space in behind. Use Werner, use Johnson, use Solanke, use your pace in your team to your advantage. But Ange obviously only likes to play his system. But I don't, as bad as we were in that second half, I don't know how much blame you can put on Ange. I think you have to put a hell of a lot of blame on them players. Romero, we've got to have serious conversations now. He's had 2 good games out of these 7. He was at fault for the goal at Newcastle, right? He was absolutely diabolical that second half against Brighton. Man United, he was very good. But let's be honest, Man United were down to 10 and we didn't have a lot to do that second half. I still believe with 11 men on the pitch, we'd have beaten Man United for what it's worth. Not that it's much at the moment. But you Destiny Udogie, one of the worst performances I've seen in a Spurs shirt. Benton Core. And you're thinking, first 5 minutes, the managers, what's I can't remember the Brighton's coach's name. Fabian Hertzler, is it? He's 31 years of age, right? He's a very young coach, but he's eager and he's keen to learn. He went, go at them because they've got a soft underbelly. And if we get 1 goal, we know this is 100% game on, right? First 5 minutes, first 15 minutes in the second half, Tottenham should be keeping it tight. Don't let them come on to you. Manage the game out. When it gets to the 60th, 70th minute, there'll be space in behind. Go and get a third, go and get a fourth, win this game. If that's Arsenal, Liverpool, City, they do not lose that game when Brighton scored that first goal. Even Chelsea, because they managed the game out. We go 2-1, they score early on, and all of a sudden, I guarantee you, every single person watching that game, whether you're a Spurs fan or a rival fan, just knew that we would crumble. And this isn't an Ange Postecoglou thing. This isn't a Jose thing. This isn't a Poch thing. This isn't a Conte thing. This comes from the hierarchy that we have a weak mentality in this football club. And they get a second goal, and I knew it. And I said to one of my friends, you watch Danny Welbeck, will turn up in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. He gets the goal, and that was it. Absolute capitulation. Where you can blame Ange is when you see Destiny Udogie putting absolute stinkers in. 55th minute, he should have subbed him and Benton Core off and put on a fullback and another midfielder. But he waits till we're 3-2 down, then brings on Bissouma and Sarr. And that's sort of like, by then, the advantages of Brighton, because we're going to come out, and Mitoma the first half was non-existent. The second half, he looked like prime human son. He absolutely tore us to shreds. You can't give a player like that when he's on it. You got to step off and give him give yourself an extra yard. Pedro Porro is a good player, but he tore him to shreds. Destiny Udogie, honestly, an absolute howler. And then, like, everyone's ripping into Solanke today. How many clear-cut chances has Dominic Solanke had this season, other than that Leicester game? He's had two clear-cut chances. I get he plays a lovely way to pass through to Brennan Johnson. I thought it was a good finish. But, mate, and the only way this is going to change for us actually to become an elite football club is if we have a change of direction from the hierarchy. Because the owners have gone out and given Ange Postecoglou £400 million, right? Which is a lot of money for Spurs. Tottenham and Liverpool have got, I know that Liverpool spend a lot, but they've got similar sort of spending that they normally sell a player and then they go on like Liverpool side Suarez or etc. We're a similar sort of football club. But you look at Liverpool right now under Arne Slot, right? He's been here 5 minutes. You can see a game plan. They look hard to beat. Yes, they've got better players. And I'm not comparing us to Liverpool, but Maresca's been there 5 minutes. You know, we got outscored by a 31-year-old coach. And there's no disrespect to Fabian Hurtzler, but these young, hungry, keen coaches that are eager to learn have just absolutely schooled Postecoglou. And where are we in the league at the moment? We're ninth. If for whatever reason we lose to West Ham, which I'm going to say right now, I don't think we will, because if we do lose, then I will be throwing my laps back the window because they are diabolical. But they're only 2 points behind us.
Where is it? Whose ground's at?
Is it our ground? But you know what West Ham are going to do? They're going to keep it tight at the back, and they're going to break with Kudus, with Bowen. Like the players yesterday, absolute bottle jobs. And that performance in that second half is a fucking disgrace.
Do you know what, Henry? Yeah, with Ange, like, of course, it's on the players as well. But the reason why I think Ange is to blame because you even said it. I think you had a midfield three of Maddison, Bentancur, and Kulusevski, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
6 and 2 8s.
Yeah, the minute they scored, I feel like bring Basuma on, bring Sarr on, bring some solidity in there. And I was saying to George earlier, for me, I know Mikey Moore played 90 minutes midweek, but start him over Werner. I'm not even going to say much about Werner. It's a low-hanging fruit at this point. Everyone knows he's just not a good fit. I don't even think he gets into the majority of Premier League teams, even a few Championship teams you wouldn't get into. But I just feel like on merit, Mikey Moore maybe should have started this game. Even if you take him off early, I think he deserves it. And even some of his performances, his cameos when he's come on. But I think Ange just got this wrong because I keep saying to Spurs fans, I understand you're not going to want to change your philosophy too much as a manager. However, there's certain moments in games where maybe just drop your line back 10, 12 yards. Because there's certain moments in games that can be a difference between coming away with something and nothing, like what happened to you lot.
Let me just say one thing, and I know George wants to come in quickly. At half time, right? I think any other, and I'm not digging at Ange, but if I'm managing that team, we're 2-0 up. I think the next 15 minutes is going to be the biggest part of that second half because they're going to come out to you. They're going to come onto you. So just keep it tight. But the minute they got that goal, we just fell apart. I don't think that's an Ange problem because we've seen it under Conte and all these managers. And George will tell you the same thing. So how does that change? How do we have a stronger underbelly? How do we manage these games out?
I think that I'll be honest, as a rival fan.
Giuseppe, let's go to George and then you jump in. I want to hear what George says about this. Sorry, go on.
I just think to go and say, obviously, look, I agree with you, 100%. Absolute bottle jobs, Spursy performance. There's no other way to describe it. It's a very Spursy performance, and I'll say as a Spurs fan, when we was 2-0 up, I wasn't confident.
Yeah, we were living life.
I don't feel like as a Spurs fan we can ever be confident as winning. We know how things can get, but I do think it's a bit easy to sit there and say that, we've seen this under other Spurs teams, and it's just the low. Like these guys have not got no underbelly. I look at the game, and like Roms has highlighted, and Giuseppe probably going to go on and say is, I just think that when you're 2-0 up, there's a way to manage a game, and there's ways to go about it. And Ange just didn't go about it the right way yesterday. I saw his comments in the post-match interview, which I thought was quite disgraceful, to be honest. I'm not on the Ange out train or anything like that, but to come out and say no substitutions or any changes wouldn't have made a difference to, the team not wanting it or Brighton wanting it more than us. No, that's exactly what substitutions are for. They're there to come on and change the game, change the mentality of the team, and, change the intensity, because there's times when you bring a player on, they have a lot of energy and they're bringing the team up the pitch. They're giving you those little runs, those little like you said, if you bring Mikey Moore on earlier, he can beat his man down the left side. That alleviates a lot of pressure, especially when you're in the transition. You need someone to run up the pitch with the ball and, you know, hold it up just for a few seconds, slow it down. That's what Mikey Moore can do. Timo Werner's not got an absolute clue on that side. And you asked why he started. We pretty much saw why he started 18 seconds into the game. He starts because he makes very good runs. Yeah, he's problematic when he's quick on the ball and
he's
when
in product.
But the problem is Werner, you can put him through as many times as you want, and Werner's just going to fluff it. He's going to fluff his chances. And I'm sure all Spurs fans now are at the point where, like you said, it's just low-hanging fruit. I'm tired of talking about Werner. We know what to expect of this guy. And to be honest, I'm putting it on Ange's head now for every game that he starts, because you can't watch the performances that we've seen time in and time out, especially these last 3-4 games, and say that he adds to our team. Yeah, he adds to our team and taking maybe a defender out of position for the other team. But when he gets into those positions, he's categorically losing us games at this point. He's losing us games.
I don't think he was the reason we lost that game, though.
I don't think he's the reason we lost the game. But if he puts the ball into the right area and right times, or makes the pass that's supposed to be made, or just finish the chances, we're away. And there's times at games where we'll be 4 or 5 up, but we're not even getting to that chance because Werner's not finishing it. So now, look, as much as I'd like to say that we didn't deserve to win yesterday, Brighton played completely better than us in the second half, and the intensity wasn't there, but the tactical setup wasn't the problem. If you look at all the goals we conceded, we had 5/6 or 7 players in the box at the time. So that means that we didn't play a high line for the goals. It wasn't a problem that they caught us in the transition. It's simple defensive mistakes. They couldn't do the basics. And that's what he said. The third goal, Romero and Porro, they're ball watching. It's about 5-6 seconds. He's watching Rutner have that little challenge with Udogie on the left-hand side. He beats him. He watches Bentancur run. They're all watching. They're just standing there like this. And then you watch Welbeck walking behind him and jump up for the header. And it was the exact same thing when Mitoma put the ball in the first half. Welbeck's hanging behind Romero, and he should have scored. I'll be honest. I think
same for the Leicester game. Vardy, another free header in the box.
One guy that I'd call out this game, and it's really one that I don't want to, because he's generally been my favorite player. But Christian Romero, man, he has some questions to answer, because as much as I think he's a Rolls-Royce defender at times, and I think he's amazing, this season he's been at fault for far too many of our losses. And I can quite categorically pin it on him that there's probably been about 5-6 goals this season that if he'd done the defensive job that he was supposed to be doing, we wouldn't have conceded. So as a captain and as our most experienced defender, need to see far better from him.
Would you drop him? Would you drop him for the West Ham game, bring in Dragoos in?
I don't think we can afford to drop him. That's the problem. I don't think we can afford to drop many of our defenders. And that's the issue with Tottenham right now, is the lack of quality and depth is exactly why we're going to find ourselves in these positions, and why these players don't need to have a lot of confidence, because they know they're getting into the team, most definitely at that back line, because Udogie knows he hasn't got no competition. You're not going to throw Ben Davies in there. And Pedro Porro, you can throw Archie Gray in there, but we know what Pedro Porro gives us going forward. So you're taking him off, and then, you know, defensively you might be better, but going forward we're going to be way worse. So we need to be in depth, man.